Hi, welcome to the channel. Today I'm reacting to Major Gaurav Arya and his Chanakya Dialogues English channel. This is Trump says NATO members who don't pay dues must be attacked by Russia. Let's get to it.
Jai friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. There's been a lot of... I don't know how to put it actually, ladies and gentlemen. I'm at a loss for words, which usually I am not. I speak professionally, so I should not be. But today, I was just reading Donald Trump's latest statement in which he said that nations, the NATO member nations who do not pay their dues, I'm going to ask Russia to attack them. What does one make out of such statements? Now, here is a guy who wants to be the president of the United States once more. But I hope one day, because what the US does impacts everybody. It impacts everybody. And I've seen that Trump goes easy on the enemies of the United States of America, but he's very harsh and very tough on the friends of the United States of America.
So that is not entirely true. I mean, just think when he was president, how often did he come after China, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic?
Today, the US looks at Russia as an enemy. You will hardly find any statement of Trump harshly criticizing Russian policy. Today, the US looks at China as a clear and present danger and the primary national security threat. You may hardly find any statement of Donald Trump which puts China in the dock. Donald Trump frequently humiliates, frequently makes fun of,
insults too,
and frequently passes statements that would embarrass America's closest allies. In his previous term as POTUS, he embarrassed Japan, and mostly it's about money or people. I don't know what he... Now, he's saying that the member nations of NATO, everybody needs to contribute some amount of money because how does NATO function otherwise? And maybe Donald Trump feels that people need to be contributing much more and America should not be carrying all the financial burden of NATO. I think he's absolutely correct. And there is no doubt I would support Trump in this, that nations need to pull their own weight, and it can't be that you keep on putting that kind of financial pressure on the United States of America. After all, these are tax dollars. That much I understand.
Trump is a businessman at heart. He might not always be the best businessman, but that is where his mindset is. And he sees NATO as an organization in which the US is paying more than its fair share. He is angry that these countries are not meeting the NATO's guidelines of the 2% of the GDP spending. And that is pissing him off, and I'm sure it pisses off a lot of the American taxpayers. So that's the point that Trump is trying to make here.
What I don't understand is the need for a person who wants to be president of the United States to come out and start criticizing, and not just criticizing, inviting Russia, and that's what Trump did, inviting Russia to actually attack NATO members who do not pay their dues. And what is the concept of NATO? NATO is essentially a grouping which says that if one NATO member is attacked, the others will gather around and defend that member. You attack one NATO member, you're in a state of war with all the others. That is the core belief of NATO. And Trump has just destroyed that core belief of NATO. Now,
so I do agree with what Major Arya just said. I think Trump just undermined NATO and was very irresponsible with his words, 100%. But on the other side, we have known Trump for a long time. And by now, I think people should understand that you can't always take Trump at face value. He craves attention and he likes to create sensationalist headlines. And he also likes to posture, which is what he did with that statement. He loves to stir the pot. And all this negative news coverage that he's getting for this incident is just giving him what he wants: attention.
Everybody. And I have got a long list and I'm going to read from a piece of paper, which I normally don't like to do. And my producer always says, Don't read from a paper. It does not look good because I don't use a teleprompter. As you would know the way I speak, you would know I don't use a teleprompter, and I just ad-lib for that 15, 20 minutes, whatever time I spend on recording.
So I think that reading from notes and from a teleprompter is bad practice and should not be done. Just kidding. Yeah, these are actually just some notes I took when I researched this topic before I sat down today. But I have no problems when it comes to notes or teleprompters helping you make a video. But Major Arya, though, he does not need to use them. He is already a brilliant and smart speaker who can just ad-lib and speak for hours if he wanted to.
But, why would a person be so destructive? He's not the president of Congo or Ecuador or some other country. He is the president of the United States of America. He cannot pass such statements. It fractures this unity of the West. And this is exactly what the world wants. This is exactly what Russia wants. This is exactly what China wants. They're talking about a unipolar world already. Where is America's leadership? You say you want to make America great again. Sure, who stopped you? Who stopped you from making America great again? Make America great again. But America is also great because of its allies. If you think, or if Donald Trump thinks that America can go it alone, as they say, no, it cannot. America has not convincingly won a war after the Second World War. Convincingly, I'm saying.
So he is correct. The U.S. is super reliant on its allies. Every war that we have fought since World War II, we have actually utilized the help of some partner countries. The Philippines, Greece, Great Britain, France, New Zealand, Australia, etc. The list goes on and on.
Look at all the American military engagements from Korea to Vietnam to South America to Iraq to Libya to Afghanistan. Everywhere. It's a shameful history of a superpower not being able to go the last mile. They've not been able to do it.
So two perfect examples. The U.S.'s shameful withdrawal from Afghanistan when we saw Afghanis clinging to the U.S. transport plane as it was taking off. And now remember back to the fall of Saigon when the U.S. helicopter was taking off from the U.S. Embassy.
The image of that helicopter taking off from the roof of their embassy in Vietnam, evacuating everybody. The images of the soldiers leaving Afghanistan, their failures in Iraq after so many years, their failures in front of the Taliban, their failures in Korea, their failures everywhere. These are military failures, these are foreign policy failures. America needs its allies. And militarily, America has no closer allies than NATO. And you can't hope to become president of the United States of America and shoot your mouth off. One day, I hope Trump will realize that this is not a reality show. One day. I hope he'll understand that these are not contestants in a reality. This is life and death. This is NATO that you're talking about. So this is the bulwark against a Russian invasion. If it happens, these are the guys who'll stand fast when the West is attacked. Let us say there is a Chinese attack. What's your policy on Taiwan? I'm saying if there is a Chinese attack on Taiwan, then what? Will the US protect or will the US not protect Taiwan?
So Biden did actually hint that the U.S. would protect Taiwan if China did invade. Does that mean boots in the ground, or does that mean handling it like the Russia-Ukraine situation, by throwing sanctions at China and by giving military aid and equipment to Taiwan? I don't know.
And when the US gets involved in a war, will NATO follow? If any American general or any American politician is under this sad misconception that America can fight wars alone, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. America does not have the capacity and the political will either to fight or to win. Now, here are some things that have been said, and I'm going to read out a couple of things. I hate reading from papers, but today I have to make an exception because, this is simply too much. Look at this. So I have all this. He says, This is NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg, and he says Donald Trump's suggestion to encourage Russia to attack NATO members failing to meet defense spending targets undermines security. Trump recounted a hypothetical scenario where a NATO member was attacked by a Russian due to not meeting financial obligations, stating he would not protect them. And President Joe Biden calls Trump's comments appalling and dangerous, accusing him of giving Putin a green light for further aggression. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Putin knows. And see, NATO was made, let's be clear, whatever NATO says, whatever NATO's mission statement says, that's different. But NATO was actually structured in the shadow of the Cold War. And many NATO members still perceive Russia to be the primary threat. And here is the most prominent and the most powerful and the richest member of NATO saying, hey Russia, this guy's not paid his bills, why don't you nuke him? Or why don't you send a missile right up his street? This is what Donald Trump is saying. And this is shocking. This is appalling behavior by somebody who wants to be or desires to be the president of the United States. Now, defense expert Dr. Patrick Bury noted Trump's reflection of US frustration with US NATO members not meeting defense spending targets. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. There is frustration. But these things need to be solved diplomatically. So Trump could have very well said that, all NATO members need to meet their financial obligations, and it is not America's duty to pull everybody's weight. I expect every member nation to pull its own weight. That's all right.
Yes, he could have said that, but that's not in Trump's character. What he could have done was just to threaten to pull out of NATO, which he has done on multiple occasions. But even those words don't have any real meaning behind them, because the US president cannot pull out of NATO unless it is approved by a 2/3 majority vote by the Senate.
That's tough. That's a tough diplomatic line to take, but it's all right. But when you ask Russia to attack member, I don't know. This is crazy. I have many a time supported Trump's policies, especially with regard to immigrants, illegal immigrants. And I've said, yeah, Trump is a tough guy. But being a tough guy and being a complete lunatic, there should be a difference between the two. A combination is very bad. You're a tough guy, great. And then you're a complete lunatic. I have supported Trump's policies on this very program many a time. And I still support some of his policies. But he's not making it easy for any of us. He's not making it easy for us. He'll get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and send an embarrassing tweet. Not that I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not an American citizen. I have never, stepped on American soil in my life. I've never been to the United States of America. But yeah, as a student of geopolitics, I feel that what in God's name is this man doing? What's wrong with him? Now, allies are bracing for political instability. These are complete notes. Allies are bracing for potential instability, regardless of who wins the elections, fearing that the US could become less dependable due to divided electorate and gridlock in Congress. No, see, this is where you get it wrong. This is where you think that US is less of a reliable ally simply because there is a divided house or there is political instability. I'm sorry, even when there was political stability, the US could not be depended upon. They have let down Zelensky, they have let down Israel, they have let down the Afghan National Army. They encouraged Afghans to fight the Taliban and then they left them there in the lurch. They left their partners who were fighting against the Viet Cong in Vietnam. America has a long history of ditching you help the Americans, you're dead. You help the Americans, you're gone. Because in the long run, they will encourage you, they'll give you money, they'll do everything. You see?
Major Arya is essentially saying to be America's enemy is dangerous, but to be America's friend is fatal.
Pakistanis are greedy. And the Pakistanis and the Americans probably deserve each other. But the Americans did exactly that with the Pakistanis, which I think that's the only positive thing that America has done for a long time. They gave money to the Pakistanis and they had an absolutely transactional relationship with the Pakistanis. And the Pakistani generals were taking all that money home.
How was that positive exactly?
And the billionaire generals in Pakistan, and that's all right. That's okay. But the problem here is you can't do that with everybody. Every country is not Pakistan. Trump's approach to allies and adversaries during his first term, Trump strained relationships with traditional allies in Europe while showing admiration for authoritarian leaders like Putin and Erdogan. He has also been critical of international organizations like NATO. So, as I said, Russia criticizes, the United States of America. The Russia and the US are not friends. So here's the problem with Donald Trump. Anytime he talks about Putin or meets Putin, it's like he's having this great fanboy moment. He goes absolutely nuts. He doesn't realize that what he's saying is not permitted by the Constitution of the United States. He expresses admiration for anybody who has dictatorial tendencies.
Going back to 2018 or 2019, when President Trump stood by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed and said that he may have been involved in the assassination of the Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, even though he had ample evidence to prove that he in fact was the approval authority on the assassination. And I agree, I think he should have publicly criticized the Crown Prince for that. I also believe that Trump just does not like to burn bridges with certain countries. I think he has the attitude of keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
For example, Erdogan. Erdogan is a lunatic. Nobody likes Erdogan. There's something wrong with Trump. Now, Biden's stance on Ukraine and global engagement. Biden has emphasized support for Ukraine but faces challenges in fulfilling his promise of restoring America's global leadership. Some Republicans have stalled military aid to Ukraine, and American influence in Middle East conflicts has been limited. Absolutely. Why do you think America was this global leader? America was this global leader because America could throw money, and America had a great military. Now, you don't want to militarily interfere, you don't want to give money, yet you want to be treated like the global policeman. Who will entertain you?
So I think last week a bill was just defeated in the House that included aid to Taiwan, Israel, and Ukraine. And the reason why it got defeated is because it had all this controversial border stuff in it. So as of right now, they're trying to put together a new bill so they can actually get it approved and send money to all those countries. But this version will not have anything about the border in it.
This is one thing I want to tell the Americans. Gratitude is future looking. And what does this mean? It means that, people are grateful for not what you have done for them in the past. They're grateful for what you will do for them in the future. Gratitude is future looking. Today, America is saying, we are not going to give money to Zelensky. We are not going to fund the Ukrainian war. The Republicans are saying that, great. That's your policy, great. Don't fund it. You're saying that we don't want to militarily interfere. So you don't have the strength, the military strength, you don't have the money, then what kind of a superpower do you think you're going to be? European allies are increasingly worried about the reliability of the US and are discussing the need to increase military spending and plan for a future without strong American support. Absolutely. There needs to be a European version of NATO in which Europeans get together and pool in their resources, including UK. You cannot depend upon the United States of America. Israel was brutally attacked. And today America is saying, ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. I mean, they've been the closest of friends and the best of allies. But this is what America's stance is. And every time America puts up somebody for war, like a Zelensky, today when Zelensky says, we will lose this war, Ukraine will be swallowed up by Russia, the Americans say, hey, the Congress is not listening to us. They won't release funds. Well, America, you should have made sure that the Congress would release funds much before you asked Zelensky to start fighting back.
So I'm not saying that sending aid and money to these countries is right or wrong. I'm just saying that some of these politicians need more common sense. What made them think that they would be able to tack on the border security provision of the military aid and spending bill during an election year? Did they really think that it was going to get passed?
Or creating such a situation where Russia had to invade Ukraine. Now, this says that Russia is bolstering ties with China, Iran, and North Korea while attempting to diminish Ukraine's international support. China remains wary of both candidates, seeing them as potentially detrimental to its interests. Now, what is happening? America has lost out. America has absolutely lost out, ladies and gentlemen. Now, today, Russians say that you want to put sanctions on us? Great, we don't need you. China says, we'll buy oil from Iran. We don't need you. India has openly told the Americans, listen, we will buy planes from wherever we wish. We will buy military hardware from wherever we wish. I mean, you can have some scraps, a drone or something like that, or an aircraft, but we will make those heavy purchases from wherever we want. And we want transfer of technology. If America is not willing to transfer technology, I'm sorry, we'll go to France, we'll go to Russia, we'll go to some other country. So where is America's leadership here? What they need to do is stick with democracies. That is the problem with Donald Trump. He sees himself as an authority. There is too much of a personality-driven White House under Trump.
So which is better, a personality-driven White House or a dementia-driven White House?
It's not process-oriented. It's personality-oriented. And whatever Trump desires, he will do. You know, I know more about war than the generals. He says stupid stuff. You know, and he says he knows more about war than the generals. It becomes increasingly more difficult for the Republicans to defend Trump. I think Trump is onto a good thing. I think Trump, if the courts don't stop him, Trump can become the next president of the United States of America. There is nothing that can stop Trump, except Trump's mouth. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Before I forget, I will put another Major Arya video on the screen for you guys right here. I agreed with almost everything that Major Arya did actually say. However, I do think that he was taking Trump's words at face value. And we all know Trump by now. He likes to say ridiculous and outlandish statements for attention and to create chaos. That's just what he does. However, I do believe that Trump's words were very irresponsible, and words, after all, have power. And as Peter Parker or Spider-Man once said, with great power must come great responsibility. Thanks for watching.